on, everybody? This is Brandon down here at Snake River Fly. Got another fly tying tutorial for you. This is the Tube Sock 2.0. Something we've been kind of tinkering with here, but utilizing some of the same classic materials with our Techno Bunny, but adding some long cut in, getting a little bit of length, softer fly, a little more movement, and then introducing yet again another way to use our Chaos dub in like a two-tone dubbing loop to form your heads. And so if you guys haven't watched, the previous tube sock videos, the minnow or the Sculpin, or we do have a how-to furl video, I've already come through and I prepped a bunch of these tails. It's really easy, and the nice thing is you can do a whole bunch of them. You can even melt the ends, and then they're just ready to rock and roll. And so this is our Techno Bunny in sand, and then our brown long cut hydro hackle that we're going to use for our tail. Hook that I have in the vise is the 60-degree heavy jig hook from Montana Fly in a number 2, and then these are just our large brass pseudo eyes. Yet again, you can use lead if you're going to fish this on a dry line, longer leader, something like that, but I like the brass just so I can utilize it on my sink tip and it's not getting down too fast in a sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pre-furled tail, it's a couple inches long. We want to go so you can see how the long cut is much longer than where the Techno Bunny ends. I'm going to take my Techno Bunny length inside of this and measure out a shank length here, and that's what I'm going to use for my tail. So we'll just peel some of those fibers back on that core that we've spun up. We're going to set that guy on there, and then we're just going to secure that on the back here. A few wraps there, come underneath, and then a lot of times I'm going to cut this material just to where it'll end right there at those eyes. It does build up a lot of bulk, but this is a pretty large profile fly for the size, but this just helps keep that tail super locked in, not going anywhere on us. So we'll just do a few cleanup wraps. Okay, so we got that tied in nice there. Now we're going to come in with another piece of the Techno Bunny in the sand color. Got a strip there. We're going to tie that in by the tip there, just at the back end. And then another piece of our long cut hydro hackle in brown. Cool thing about doing it this way is that if you really wanted to, you could come through and you could quadruple tone these if you wanted to. You could really get crazy, but we're going to keep it all the same. Biggest thing now that we have these two tied in is we want to make sure that the fur side on these synthetics is pointed the same direction. That way when we go to wrap it, everything's laying nice and folding back against the fly there. That way we kind of keep that same taper and flow. So we'll just palmer those two up, brushing those fibers back as we go, making sure we're not trapping a whole bunch of them. And we're just going to bring that to right up behind the eyes, and then we'll tie it off. Okay, so we got that there. We're going to bring a couple wraps over the top, just like always. Cinch that down, pull all those materials back, and then a pile of wraps there. Cutting out this excess, we got a little, quite a bit left over, but that can go into another bug. So we'll set that off to the side, and then just a few cleanup wraps to make sure that's all where we want it. Okay, so we're going to come in with, wire brush all this stuff forward, and then brush it back. You can see how that long cut kind of starts flaring out a little bit, gets way soft, and this fly has a ton of crazy movement, when you're stripping it, but then also at rest with that long cut. And the beauty of it is that the Techno, if you fished, any Techno Bunny flies or tied with it, you know that it's going to really hold its shape in the water. So the cool thing is you get the soft, kind of slithery movement, in a sense, from the long cut there, but by holding that big core so you keep that profile. Okay, so now we've inverted our hook here. We're going to go ahead and make a dubbing loop. Pretty generous sized. Once we get that tied in, then we'll advance our thread just in front of the eyes there. And so take your favorite dubbing tool, slide that in. And so now we got our Chaos dub. We got two different flavors here. This first one is the Cali Leech. We're going to take out a pretty generous helping of that. Open up that dubbing loop. And we're going to slide that up, making sure that it's somewhat even. I mean, you could get real particular on how you stack this, because we are going to stack another color in here. That way we get this cool kind of like two-tone head and this fade. But really, at the end of the day, as long as you get, you know, once those two colors start blending, you get it all brushed out, it usually looks and turns out pretty dang good. And so the next color we're using is our chocolate brown. We're going to take probably about half, or, you know, maybe a little over a quarter of the amount of the Cali leech that we used. Open up our loop, stack that in there. Okay, so we got this pretty hardy loop here. I'm going to start spinning that up. A few spins, and then come through and just do a light pick. That way we don't lose too much. And keep spinning. And now we can come in and be a little more aggressive. Make sure we're not trapping a bunch of fibers. And so very similar to like the Chaos Minnow that we just came out with, you know, I think a couple weeks ago, a month ago. Got a great loop there. You're gonna pull all those fibers back now so they're laying all the same way. And then we're just going to do one full rotation and then into a second rotation behind the eyes. And then as we come up from that second one, we're gonna go into the figure 8 here. Around the eyes, and you can see we start dipping into that chocolate portion. And just like the dubbing says, it is absolute chaos. And it's gonna look like a mess, but that's okay. We can clean that up. So then we'll do a couple wraps in front of the eyes here with that last little bit. I think I can squeak one more in there. Okay, and then we'll bring our thread up, secure that down, a couple thread wraps back, tying off that loop. Okay, so now got this big fuzzy head. We'll just take your fingers like a triangle there, preen those fibers back, watch your hook point though. I did see a cool trick the other day where somebody had little pieces of like eraser or foam that they would stick on their big predator flies, that when you were preening your fibers back, it would eliminate some of the blood. So we got that pulled back there. So now we'll go into a whip finish. Double stack that, come in, cut that out, and then we come in with our brush again, and we're gonna go through, really rip through this. And then what I like to do a lot of times too is, even on this bottom end, I'll come in with my scissors. If you got a bodkin or something handy, you know, that's probably the better move. That's probably why all of our scissors are dull in the shop, but that's what we got handy. So,
but we're not dull.
No, we are not. And now you can go ahead and brush all that stuff back, and it gives you that kind of cool sucker minnow, baby brown trout, you know, whatever your forage base is, you can kind of mix and match this. We'll come through and just kind of trim some of these stragglers out just to give us a little more shape.
Man, that looks good.
But all in all, that is the finished bug there. Awesome profile, pushes a ton of water, but still keeps all that great movement back here with that long cut. So like I said, a lot of different color combos that you can pair it up with. This has been one of our favorites, you know, out here in Snake River country. So definitely one to check out, maybe tie a few up and fish the next time you're out and about. We appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed already, we would appreciate it if you did. All the thumbs up and all that helps and goes a long, long ways. So happy fishing and happy time.